What's up? This is Jason Hook from Flat Black, and you're watching CMS TV.
And we are back. It is Erik and Chris. It is Chris Akin Presents. And dude, what you mentioned it, man. What a crazy week this week, huh? I mean,
right.
Good Lord.
Well, the crash took most of the news up, and then, and of course, I was focused on that. But then, all of a sudden, I'm like, "Am I reading this right?" Biden drops out of the race.
Yeah,
and it was by just a audio or a text or something. It wasn't like it wasn't a big speech or anything.
I know we go into conspiracies all the time, and both of us are get told that we're fucking lunatics and whatever. But
idiots, I think idiots comes
idiots,
up a lot.
Lunatics, whatever. I don't give a fuck. These guys. If you want to have shallow thought and believe everything you see on the news, have at it. Have at it. Be led to slaughter. It's fine. Did you see? And you may not have because you were traveling. Did you see the press conference that Kamala Harris had with Biden saying, giving the endorsement?
And I thought for sure they would tell her to not do the hyena laugh, or really tone it down. And she couldn't help it. She really just,
she's awful.
With their weird ears.
But could that have been any more fake?
Yeah, it was, she definitely, that would be a scary thought, her running the country. Just, I just want to stop and talk about how much we love Joe. We love Joe and Jill so much. Like, is this an Oprah Winfrey show or something? You know what I mean? You should be like more presidential and just be like, reassuring the public and things. This was just like a weird, The View kind of, something.
And then they had that completely AI faked phone call. Which I don't even think it was AI. I think it was like a soundboard. It was, dude, I didn't even realize it, but there's one part in this thing, and again, people want to say I'm crazy, go ahead. But apparently if I'm crazy, Steven Crowder's crazy as well, because I saw this today and I was like, holy shit. So there's one part where Kamala says, "We love you, Joe," and then the voice
Joe and
goes,
Jill.
And the voice goes, "I love you too, kids." Kid or kid, whatever. Yeah. So I'm watching Steven Crowder a little bit today. He plays the video from 6 months ago of Biden with a bunch of kids saying the exact same thing.
Oh, I got my eye on you, kid.
Yeah, it's literally just it's not even AI.
I mean, they don't. Well, AI can do what you're saying, though. I mean, we know that. I mean, they can do the voice of anybody. I mean, right now, record labels are selling away the rights to their artist's voice. That's how good it's gotten.
It has, but they're so lazy in the White House that they just made a quick soundboard.
They just took some sound bites and pieced together a little bit. Like we can make
together.
The script just a quick little 30-second, interaction between her and him that they could use that. I guess. I mean, you would think that they would have the budget to be able to do the other thing that's, we've known about forever.
You would think. And that, and again, I've been following. I hate that I got myself completely out of news for a while, and fucking Seth dragged me all the way back in. Now I'm watching it all the time. I watched all 5 or 6 hours of that Secret Service hearing yesterday, and I was all in on that.
I was being I don't know what you call what I was being with Chris, but you would say the name of that secretary or whatever, the Cheadle or Cheeto.
Cheadle, yeah.
And I always keep thinking of that actor Don Cheadle.
Hotel Rwanda guy.
I would send like little gifs of John Cheadle when you'd post a story about it.
Well, dude, it was fascinating. It was the rare time that both sides, I think both sides would have hit her in the face with bats if they could have. I mean, they were out for blood, and good on them for doing that, I guess. Mm-hmm. If you believe that it's not all just
theater
anyway, which I don't. I mean, clearly she's the fall guy to wall it off. That's what it is. She quit today, so now it's walled off. She went in, she took her beating, she looked bad.
Mm-hmm.
Today she quits.
Right, quit.
3 months from now, we'll see that she signed a book deal
right.
with Simon and Schuster for $22 million to tell her side of the story.
It takes the heat off the Secret Service just to have the one person, then the public feels as though they're appeased enough. They're like, well, she lost her job. Well, there you go. Now we can move on with our lives.
Yeah, now we don't have to really dig into the FBI and see if it's them. And now we don't have to really see if there was deep state involvement and who it would be.
I sent you something. She said they don't have any audio recordings of any of the CB stuff.
Well, why would they? Why would they for a sitting or a former president? Why would they have the audio recordings?
I haven't watched any of the news like you have to maybe watched how they edited up the whole Trump shooting to look more like push you over to the side that it really did go down. Mm-hmm. Because when I was watching the first clips of it, it did not look whatever. But then later they kind of were able to edit small pieces that made it look a little more believable. But unfortunately, this was another thing I noticed while I was gone, that there's no doctor report. There's no after visit report that everybody gets. I don't care who you are. When you go, even for a cold at the doctor, you get a visit report. Nowadays, it's on an app. And you could show what they said about it. And in a situation like this, where you're saying a bullet hit your ear or nicked your ear or whatever, they would have to say what they said, what's the patient, what's going on, what they did to treat it. And he has not released any of that.
No. Well, and a week later, now suddenly they have video from that side with the bullet ripping through his ear. There's video of that. It took a week to get it, but now
where you see video. A bullet, you can actually see a bullet ripping through his ear.
You see his ear, and then you see a hole in his ear.
A hole. So this guy has a hole in his ear.
Yeah.
He's walking around with a hole in his ear.
Well, they might have stitched it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because all we've seen is that big dumb Band-Aid.
No, but that's interesting though, because then there was that movement going on where all of a sudden the Republicans are putting in solitude or whatever, not solitude, in solidarity with Trump, like putting a bandage on their ear, on their one ear. Awful. It's really, it's that is so put out there, that sort of thing, to show fandom or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, the whole thing, again, I don't know that I'm ready to go as far as you are that the whole thing is staged. I'm definitely willing to go as far to say it's not just a colossal fuck up. It's way bigger than that. It's a screw up that when I did that kind of work could never have happened. And I was 14 million rungs lower than that.
Right.
And it could never have happened. I mean, no chance it could have happened like that. For a president, I'm certainly not buying that. And I'm certainly not buying some of these, well, look at this. Now we can see a bullet whizzing by in the blue behind him where we don't see people. But there were people behind him and, whatever. And I'm not buying into the whole thing that the deep state wouldn't kill a civilian. That's another thing I've heard is, well, if it's fake, they wouldn't have killed somebody. Right. Why would they not have killed somebody? This is what governments do.
I still don't know what to think of that. And the guy, I told you his name's kind of got the free Masonic, the CC. And I sent you something today that somebody pulled up where he made some really bad comment while he was alive still. Where did do I have that nearby? I hope what I sent. It was a screenshot of one of his tweets in regards to Israel. Palestine. Yeah, here it is. Israel. It says the news story that was Sky News from October 27th of last year. It says over 1 million people have fled their homeland in Gaza, with many following Israeli warning, evacuate to the south. And then Corey Capatori says they'll get over it. The Japanese did.
Ooh.
Which I don't know. That didn't seem very sensitive.
Yeah, I mean it's an ugly quote. Now it has 33 million views too.
33. That's another Masonic.
33 million views on that video. On that.
Okay, so 33 million. That's the highest rank of the Masons, and then this guy's got the CC. I don't know, man. Don't know what to think. But when I was watching some other video they showed, it shows this black dude that was in the bleachers behind where Trump was, and there's a little bit of blood there, and you see him, and he's acting like he's annoyed by it. He's like, God damn it. He's like scooching over. Ugh. And he's like, yeah, can you believe this shit? He's like, like reading his body language, right? Watching this video, and then he's like, yeah. And then he just sits there, and it's like, it just didn't seem like that would be happening. Like, that the people would be still sitting on and then I look, and he's got looks like a piece of brain particle on his kneecap, like placed on his kneecap,
Must have
which
been
was
some
interesting.
ear.
Well, I mean, it might have been this guy, this Corey
Capatori guy. Yeah,
it may be. I mean, but or not. I mean, when they do these crisis acting and stuff like that, that's a big part of it. They make it as realistic as possible. Okay, like they want to train people how to do things, and that's why they have crisis actors, and they'll make like compound fractures and stuff sticking out of arms. You know what I mean? To like have somebody go over and an EMTs that's training so that they can dress the wound. I mean, you're familiar with this, right?
Yeah.
They put out ads on like Craigslist for this stuff,
right? For crisis actors, yeah.
For crisis actors, and they do it for events, and sometimes they get busted because the public is onto that shit now. So when people locally in the job section see this, they get on Reddit and go, look, man, take a look at this ad. And then the chatter builds up, and they got to go, oh, maybe we shouldn't do this.
Right.
Or what have you. But I wouldn't put it past them. I know I have to be careful what I say, that they would have it all inhibited with their crisis actors or whoever their, people are, and just try to make this look as legit. But if you're now saying that you're leaning more towards that this went down, it was just a gross.
Well, I'm not saying that at all. I'm definitely not saying that at all. Right. What I'm saying is I don't know.
Right.
I know, all I do know is that it is more than a bunch of people just not doing their job.
Right.
I'm not buying that this Cheadle, this chick didn't lead her detail correctly, and that it's really just DEI. No, forget that. There's no way. There's no possible way in the time that I did it. There's no way somebody could have got up on top of a building. It just couldn't have happened.
Right. A ladder sitting there waiting for them.
And all these excuses that I'm hearing about, well, it was in the perimeter, it was out of the perimeter, whatever. If somebody's on a rooftop and they're not in our perimeter, but we see them, and there's people yelling, he's got a gun. Somebody's getting on that rooftop. They're not going to say, well, wait a minute, it's not part of the perimeter. Not going out there.
Yeah.
They're going to go see what the hell they can do. It just doesn't it does not add up.
It seems like most of the people that were, whether it was the police, the FBI, the Secret Service, were all in like lockstep of putting on this event, whatever it is. But maybe the people weren't aware that there was some legitimate Trump fans that were there, that they allowed to be there, that didn't know what was happening, maybe to make it look more real, because it's hard to get good actors for this.
Well,
so they maybe needed some real people mixed in with it. I don't know how many. We talked about this, like who's in the bleachers behind him. I suspect that they know everybody. In fact, the one lady that at the time we did our last show, we didn't know who she was. That's sitting right behind there. She looks really weird.
Yeah,
because the glass, and then all of a sudden, she gets down for a second, then creeps back up. She gets down for 1 second, then she's all.
Yeah. Ooh, gotta film that.
Yep, she's filming it, and everybody's like, well, that's strange behavior. She works for the FBI.
Of course.
She's an FBI agent.
Mm-hmm.
So that would explain why she looked like she knew what was happening and didn't look scared. Most people would want to get your instinct when something like this is happening as a human being would not get out. That's what you'd be thinking.
No one ran, which was beyond
very
weird.
suspect, man. You know, there's bullets going down. You want to get in your car and get the F out of there.
Yeah, no one ran. That's weird. CNN that won't put Trump on TV, all of a sudden they're doing a Trump rally for the first time in forever.
Right.
You know, they never cover his rallies. You got to watch them on like fucking Newsmax or Rumble or something.
Yeah.
Or, you know,
even
Next
this news story
Network.
I noticed was like so downgraded. Like this, and if this was real, I just feel like it would be on. That's all you would be seeing. We interrupt this broadcast. You know, they would just take over Netflix to show you, you know, or whatever. I don't know, but
Dude, they damn near take over Netflix every year on November 22nd to rebroadcast 65 years later of JFK. But this story, gone.
Trump's a big JFK fan, and he always promised everybody he was gonna show what was going, the secret files or whatever, which he never did.
Yeah.
And this thing has a real feel like that.
It
Like
has
now
a
the
JFK
water
feel.
tower is like the grassy knoll. Like, oh, they're the news now. All the witnesses, you know, they saw this guy up there, and everybody's speculating, but they believe that it happened. Most of the Trump people think that this happened. If you ask any of the Democrats, a lot of them think it didn't. A lot of them think it's staged.
Yeah,
which is
I don't know, you know, and we'll never know. I mean, honestly, the reaction is exactly what they want,
Right.
which is a zillion
Confusion.
people with a zillion ideas, and none of them equal the real thing.
Right.
That's
Nobody's
exactly
right. Nobody's
what they want,
nobody's 100% right on their theory.
which means nobody can be punished for it.
Right. And if you say that guy didn't die and he did, you look like you're an idiot who doesn't know what they're talking about. But
And if you say it was staged, it's you're anti-patriot.
now with the shooter, I have always wondered, like, do these people really exist? Because of course they get a few people to say, oh yeah, I went to school with that guy, a couple, but they're really, I mean, they had no social media presence before, which is strange. They could make a fake image now. I mean, that's where we're at.
Yeah,
You know,
deep
with
fakes.
AI, deep fake, they could make a person that doesn't exist. I've seen a lot of these. It's like a really believable looking, unique person, and they are fake. It's just a computer put together this face, and they could do that with a suspect. A lot of pictures are coming out now that are saying that this picture we saw of a kid is an old picture. Like now they're a tranny or something. They're
Yeah,
like,
I've seen that too. That here he is cross-dressing and
cross-dressing and just being a total weirdo.
yeah,
You saw that?
I saw it too. Yeah, with the neck thing on, like the
Yeah, like it's like Charlie Brown's sweater design, but it was on his neck.
some girly neck thing. Is like, okay, they're going out of their way to her this guy.
Somebody
You know.
on the, you know, and there's a lot of disinformation on Reddit too. I don't, especially the conspiracy stuff. I mean, if there's anything I believe on Reddit, it's like on the Delta subreddit. I was believing a lot of the stuff I was seeing from people, but on the conspiracy one, oh man, you got a lot of bots in there. You got, you know, the CIA in there, probably you know, the feds, everybody trying to put weird stuff out there. Companies doing damage control in a lot of cases, you know, where they're like, no, that's a great company. I love them.
Right.
You know, you're getting in an argument with a person that doesn't even exist.
Yeah, exactly. You're arguing for an hour and a half, then you figure out it's a bot. You know, it's, I hate that.
That's just going to get better and better. Mm-hmm. They're very believable now.
Yeah, they're getting there, but I guess we'll never know for sure, man.
So they're saying that it was a basically enough of a nick that it's not, his ear is still there, but if there was a hole in it, they took care of it. It's all stitched up
right
now.
up. Yeah.
Don't worry about it. Yeah,
They got
fine.
that
Hey, it's
bandage
trouble.
on.
Yeah.
That bandage to give him the air of toughness that he handled that injury.
Do you think that this
and
would change people's views that are like that hate Trump, or they would hate him a little less and then feel like maybe their team did do something bad? Like, would it maybe? Yeah. Do you think that they hate him more?
You know what I think it does? Keeps them home. So that they're not doing 30, 40, 50,000 people at the rallies. Now people are afraid of being shot. Yeah, now people are afraid of getting shot.
Funny you mentioned that, because they made it seem like Jack Black had to cancel his tour because you know, the insurance. I heard that come up, like, oh, the insurance for his performances now would be skyrocketing, and you know,
he just said something too. He said what he was thinking too quick.
Yeah.
That's real. He literally is the victim of the too soon joke. That's really what
too soon
is.
Joke.
That's really what it is. He told the joke too soon. If he'd have waited a month and told the same thing on stage, nobody would have said shit.
I've
said shit.
seen people making those jokes or making
and you see as many people trying to get them canceled from their jobs or their businesses or whatever. But a month from now, every comedian we know will be telling jokes about Trump getting the top of his ear pierced and
I remember Eddie Murphy doing a bit on Reagan back in the 80s.
Yeah. I mean, it'll happen.
It was buckwheat. Remember, buckwheat's been shot. Buckwheat, and it was like it was basically doing his version of the Reagan thing.
Yeah,
right. Remember?
Mm-hmm. I do.
You should watch that. You should pull up "Buckwheat's Been Shot" for people that might not remember.
Find it.
Just to put some levity in here. And I'm not trying to get people upset at me that are big fans of his. But you know what's funny? I won't name the band member, but one of the band members this week said something that I was like, yes, it kind of mirrored something that I said, which is, you know, we should never be like 100% into any of these individuals. Like the only thing we should care about is the Constitution of the United States. That's the only thing that matters. Like we shouldn't be that invested into an individual or take an oath to an individual. You know what I'm saying? Like, we just have to, you know, protect our Constitution at all costs. At all costs. And anybody who's coming in to dismantle it or do anything or is trying to, you know, get us to change it, amend it in any way is your enemy.
Yeah.
100%.
This is not out here.
Oh, they don't have it anymore. Maybe Eddie Murphy got it taken down.
This might be it. Try this one. I'm freewheeling here. This might be wrong, but
is that like free balling? Back when Saturday Night Live was awesome.
Back when it was worth watching.
Definitely.
I haven't watched Saturday Night Live though, and it might be good. I don't even know. I cannot say that I've watched it in 30 years.
There's been a couple times it was hosted by somebody good, and there was a couple funny things in there, but it's bad. It's been bad a long time. It's pretty unwatchable.
Following along.
The biggest and the best heavy metal radio station is CMS Network Now. With over 5,000 heavy metal songs from all the subgenres and eras of metal, it ranges far more than almost any station broadcasting today. You can also listen to great radio shows like Charlie Kendall's Metal Shop, the shows of the CMS Network, and even the full episodes of the Classic Metal Show with the music. Visit CMS Network now at www.cmsradio.net or on the CMS Network app in both the iOS or Android stores. There's no need to listen anywhere else for the best